Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Shut Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of Project Architect 2. And today, we are going to look at getting advanced pattern providers. This is because Mechanism. We're going to automate Mechanism here real quick. I will do one machine, and then we'll kind of just go off of that. These are going to be special case, the advanced infusing factories, or just the infusing factories in general. The rest of these guys, besides this one, so this one as well, is a special case, mostly because you got this extra slot. I talked about this when messing with the thermal machines, is that Mechanism has a lot more inputs. This is what I was talking about. There's always this like little extra slot when it comes to the compressing factory, when it comes to the infusing factory, and I think there's like a handful more. But for the most part, advanced AE makes this a breeze. And so that's why we're going to mess with this. I'm just going to grab 8 of these guys. And if you remember, at some point I made this advanced and pattern encoder. And what we're going to do is this first one here is actually redstone. So I put signs here to just indicate which ones these are going to be for the extra slot. So let's get that going. Okay, so let's look up the basic control circuit. And we are going to not put redstone. We're actually going to grab the enriched redstone. So this is 8. So technically we need 4 osmium ingots. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this goes here. Okay, that's not going to work that way. There we go. And then one of these guys. Because this is a 2 to 1, right? And you can check that here. 2 pieces of redstone per 1 osmium equals 1 basic control circuit. And then we also want to look at Mechanism infused alloy. We'll just type in alloy here. And this is a 1 to 1. So if we do 1 enriched redstone, we're going to do 8 of these guys. So there, clear that, 1 of these, and then we also need more patterns. Perfect. And so when we go to use this, let's grab a cable. We are going to want to put the pattern inside of the advanced pattern provider, and we're going to want to say, on the down direction, we will push in the enriched redstone. Okay? And let's just see which way we're facing here. So the south direction. Okay. So we'll just reset that. South direction. And that should be good. All right. So let's pop that guy in here. And then inside the machine, we need to do, on the down direction, we're going to set this to extra. And this one, we're going to do input, output, auto eject on. And then, of course, make sure auto sort's on as well. Okay? And that should be everything we need to do. Well, besides the fact that I haven't actually crafted that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we do have enough. So this one is actually just going to be a default pattern provider. We'll just do extended just in case. And this is going to be simple. So we'll just do a nice normal one. There we go. And put this in here. And then on the back of this, we're going to right click on the machine. So input, output, auto eject on, auto sort. And then now we should be able to do the alloy and everything of that sort. So 64. This guy gets started. This guy is getting filled up. And of course, once we get enough of this stuff set up, we'll do speed upgrades and all of that other stuff. But this should be functioning, as you can see here. So now I just need to do the advanced pattern providers on all of these infusing factory pieces and the compressing factory, which if you don't remember, the compressing factory is the osmium one. You can see here, that's how we get the refined obsidian ingots, how we get the refined glowstone ingot, and all of that jazz, right? That's pretty fun. Okay. We won't really use this one that much, but it's still something just to note. And how are we doing? So yes, these guys definitely need a speed upgrade or two, but that is fine. It should be done here in a little while, and that is perfect. All right, so let's get the next pattern here. So on the down direction, on the south direction, that should be done for that one. Perfect. Okay. So then, of course, I will carry that over to diamond, the refined obsidian, the steel, which I am going to do independent on steel, just because in that way we're always putting in the carbon that we need, because, of course, that is a thing, and that is probably something I'll have to clear this entire thing out of. So I may just run a whole bunch of iron through here just to get this cleared up. But this should not be too difficult at all. So I'll be back. Alrighty, and that is mechanism completed, automated. Everything is golden. We can go in here and we can see all of the mechanism machines throughout, which some of them are populated, not all of them, because I kind of just don't really need all of them right now. You can see all the fusing factories, all of that fun stuff. That is beautiful. Of course, right now I'm just testing with making steel, which that is cruising, that is going. You can see some steel being smelted up over here, and that is golden. All right, that was just kind of one thing I wanted to tick off the bucket list while we have a little bit of time. The next thing that we want to get up to is probably figuring out what we need to do for the EMC automation for the Archimorph thingy-mabobber. So off camera, I actually went ahead and I have gotten us the Blitz Cube, the Basalt Shard, and the Blitz Mode. So these are from thermal mobs. And the Blitz spawns in desert biomes, kind of hotter biomes. The Basals, this one spawns in basalt deltas, basalt biomes. And this one, of course, is the Blizz, which spawns in snowy biomes. So I actually went ahead and I actually have these guys over here. As you can see, they're right there, all along there. And they were a little bit, you know, pain to get. So I actually used a mob swab to kind of duplicate them easier. But yeah, so that's the thing. And if we need more of these, we could go add a spawner or two and just dispel from there and get a mob swab of these guys. Nothing too complicated there. Also, of course, I did completely remove all the drawers. Anything that's not EMCable is currently sitting here, and that is beautiful. So we are cruising, we are golden, and of course there's an EMC link here too that is pushing all of that stuff. Looks like I missed a couple demlets, because I did add our backpack using the entangled blocks, and that allows for me to send all these guys that way, which is fantastic, and definitely worth it, because now we don't have to worry about this chest filling up and all of that stuff. Okay, so I've just kind of been cleaning stuff up. So I guess the next thing that I want to do is get this set up to be a bigger capacity, because we need to. So we need resin to actually do the resin balls, and I actually want to have a supply of resin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tank, and I want to grab I don't really want to grab the jumbo tank. I want to do the thermal tank. I think the thermal tank sounds fun. I could just put this in our AE2 system. Actually, you know what? That's a good idea. Let's put it in our AE2 system. We actually haven't done a full-out fluid cell to that extent. We actually do have a fluid cell in here, but that's just kind of for anything that's like passing through. But I want to grab a 64K storage component. We'll let that craft up. Things should start cruising. It's actually already done. Perfect. And we're going to grab a fluid cell, and we're going to grab a cell workbench. So with this, we can just plop this down, and we can actually partition cells. So what we'll want to do is we'll want to grab a resin, and we'll want to put this here. And now this is a partitioned cell for resin. Equal distribution card, the overflow destruction card. So if you have something that you don't want a whole lot of, but you also don't want it to back up for some reason, So, for example, if we pulled sludge from Industrial 4 going, we'll use that as an example. If I wanted to keep like 16 buckets on hand, I could use a smaller fluid cell, and I could actually do the overflow destruction card, which would destroy the rest, which is actually a really cool thing. The equal distribution, of course, the more partitions, you could actually say, hey, I want this split down the middle or split between all four, fluids that I have or something along those lines. Very, very fantastic. So we're going to snag this guy because this is now set to be specifically for resin. And I am going to grab... Actually, how do I want to do this? Because I am starting to fill this whole thing up, which is not a good thing. And also, this was my contraption to get the drawers pushed over in EMC-able stuff removed from all of them. It doesn't look pretty, but it worked pretty darn quickly. So let's just remove this, and I'm going to do a Ender tank, which we actually have a set of in here. And we're going to do probably like orange or yellow. So orange, left and right, left and right. And we can then put this, we'll put it, I was hoping there was a cable there. I'm just going to set a cable there for a second as like a temporary. And then I'm going to do import bus, cable, and then I'm going to go grab the resin, which we're just going to grab a pipe, advanced pipe upgrade, and then I'll probably actually change this out as well to be a higher type of tank, probably a thermal tank. That probably sounds like a good idea just so we have a large backup. We'll enchant it and everything, and that will work perfectly. Can I not connect? Oh, that's an item pipe, not a fluid pipe. My bad. We'll just do that, do that. Okay. Is that working? It is. Okay. I just wanted to confirm because it looked like it just kind of didn't do anything. But I know there's quite a bit of backup on most of these guys. So that is fantastic. And we should be able to see that we are getting resin? Question mark? Is that better? Where did that just go? I'm very confused. What just happened? Okay. I am not sure, so I'm actually going to just take this cell and get rid of it. That was weird. I guess what I'll do is I will just do fluid storage over here instead, and then just run it out there, because, yeah, I don't know what just happened, and I don't really want to try and attempt that again, because if it just voids that much resin, that was a pretty bad thing. So, functional storage. We need the fluid drawer, not a normal drawer. So this one here. Hello. There we go. And we want to grab a bucket, if we can, and go get a bucket of resin. Which we may have to go grab the ender tank. Okay. But we are going to disconnect the ender tank from down here as well. Just because if we're not going to be able to use it, we're not going to worry about that. And I really have no idea. If you guys have any idea where that fluid may have went, I don't think I have anything that's like voiding fluids or anything of that sort. I don't think. Might have to go check something real quick, but let me put this there. And bucket. But that should clear out that ender tank. And I thought I had like a trash can, but I thought I removed it. No, I just have the sink. So did it like maybe try to push it into the sink and avoided it? That might be a thing, but shouldn't be a thing. I don't know. Okay, I thought I just had a trash can, and that was my thought, but apparently I do not even have a trash can over there, so I think I used it temporarily and then I removed it a while ago. Here we go. And then we'll just do lock, link, and that should be golden. We'll lock, we'll link that. There we go. And that should be golden. And then I want to grab a controller access point. Nice. Sleep. No. Okay. So controller access point. I guess we'll dig this out one more time here. Okay. But that should work. And that should get us some amount of resin over time. But that even being in our system is just going to be fantastic, because that way we'll be able to get more. And I'll probably come through and I will probably set up PhytoGrow stuff sooner or later. But none of these guys actually seem like they are running. And like, we can't just grab an integral component, right? I've tested that, right? Actually, no, I guess I have not tested that, because that did work. So with that in there, that should technically like 12 times the amount. So let's actually go ahead and do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just have the 4 times 3, so 12. So we just need 11. So I am going to send 11 of these guys. So that way our resin will actually be faster. And then I will work on just doing EMC links for PhytoGrow. We probably don't need too much insanity with that. Honestly, we could probably use tier 2, and that should work, but I think I might bump it up to tier 3. And we just like set one on the corner, and we'll just run item pipes around, so that way we can get rid of the hoppers and everything. So just like this. And then we just do PhytoGrow. We get rid of this. And then we just grab some pipes. And I don't really care about round robin because these guys don't use that much. There we go. And we will cut off this side. Do that. And we'll grab 3 of these guys. Just kind of make sure it's sped up enough. Okay. And then once I start getting all the components and everything, that should be fantastic. This one may be the only issue. I may try to regrow this spruce sapling, just so that way it ends up being similar to these guys. But yeah, that is going to increase resin, and that will get us the Archimorph one kind of fully automated. Because, of course, we already have everything else for that one. Because we have the Archerion, we have the resin ball, we have the Supreme Machine frames already. And I think all I need to do is get the resin ball recipe set and get a blast chiller without any kind of pattern in it, right? Because I think right now we have only one, and that one has the pattern here. So I could add another blast chiller at the very end here, which we will do. And I'm going to add another stellar component here. How's everything cruising? So it's just waiting. Waiting. Okay. So I will get that done. That's not going to be too complicated. Let me work on the rest of that, and we'll be right back. All right. Blast chiller is set up. I actually just sent one resin ball. We'll do another. Perfect. That is working. Fantastic. So that is the Archimorph set up. And we actually can, I think, unlike the last one, unlike the Architron, I think we should actually be able to craft this in an induction smelter. So let's actually do that. So this, that, there, done. And that should be golden. The induction smelter, throw this in here. And just because I can, did that actually work? There it goes. And you just saw, so the biggest thing is we're technically, when we do that, so we can make 377. So if I do, for example, 8, so 3,777, right? Or 377 is how many we could make of these. So when these complete, we should be able to technically make more. So we'll see, because I just wasted a whole bunch of EMC, I think. Or should waste a whole bunch of EMC doing this. Everything is crafting. So now we're up to 380. And this is actually technically getting us more EMC. That is fantastic. I think that is going to do it for this episode. I think the next portion is kind of working on getting everything else here, which is the energy nullifier augment and the efficiency nullifier augment, which I don't think are that complicated. Not really. Echo shards, we have access to that now. Enderium, Melidium plates. I think we actually don't have those plates, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we don't have those plates. So all I'd have to do is go here and just make sure those plates are craftable. And then put that in the multi-servo press. That is way down here. And that should be done. Okay. This thing is still crafting. So they actually didn't go up that much. I mean, we probably did, but you can't really see the number. Archimorph, we can do 10 more now. So every time we do a stack of those, or do a little bit of those, we're actually getting pretty decent outcome. Which is fine. We're almost actually to 2,000 Archirions, which is cool. Okay, so yeah, next episode, I think we'll be able to do the Archiltrion, which this thing is in the dissolution chamber, right? Yes, with the refined sunflower oil that we already actually have, because we crafted that a long time ago at this point. We just probably need to get it into a functional storage drawer rather than a tank. And then I think next episode, we will be able to make this guy, and will also be automated, because we already kind of have everything else in place for this. We just now need to get this piece. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.